Hello, and welcome to the next webinar in my series on modern Java by example. Today, we're going to be focusing on a number of issues related to using Java streams and parallel streams, focusing primarily on how you can make mistakes when you use the mechanisms and how to avoid those mistakes. So you can kind of think this is common traps and pitfalls of using sequential and parallel streams. There'll be a number of examples we're going to look at. So let me show you the various places to find the source code. I'll start out by sharing my screen, and we will be on our way. So if you go to my live lessons account and you look in the Java 8 folder, which of course is more than just Java 8, and we come down here, you'll see there's a bunch of different examples. So one of the examples we have in here is the EX11 example, and that's the one we're going to start looking at first. So let's go ahead and take a look at EX11, and I will switch over to my IDE. So this particular example is going to show how using operations with side effects when processing streams can lead to chaos and insanity. So what we're going to do here, it's a very simple example, and we're going to go ahead and create a stream with 10 elements in it. As you can see, it's from 0 to 9, and we box them together, and we can collect them up into a list. So we're trying to get a list of integers, which we do, 0 through 9. And then we're going to go ahead and turn this into a stream. And you can see based on the parameters we passed here, we're either going to have a sequential stream or we're going to have a parallel stream using our dynamic configurable mechanisms here to turn streams from sequential to parallel with a flick of a switch. And then what we're going to do, and you should never do this, but I'm going to do this just to demonstrate what not to do, is we're going to go ahead and try to remove the elements of the list as we peek at them. And so this is an example of modifying the underlying stream source while the stream source is being processed. And you'll see when we run this that, of course, chaos and insanity will ensue. Right now, let's go ahead and keep it with no parameters passed in here. So that means we're going to use parallel streams. And so let's go ahead and run it with parallel streams turned on. And you can see it gets just nonsensical output. We're supposed to get the numbers. You know, we're supposed to be like creating this stuff and looking at the values, and we should be getting numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And instead we just get a random smorgasbord of numbers with some nulls thrown in for good measure. And of course, there's concurrent modification exceptions going on because we're modifying the underlying list as we're iterating through it through the streams iterator. So obviously that's a bad thing to do. For kicks, let's go ahead back over here and let us turn on. Let's give a 1. So this says to use sequential streams. And I think we'll get a little bit different output. It's not quite so insanely chaotic, but it's also incorrect, and we get Java modification exceptions. So the key point of this discussion is to not modify the source of the stream while the stream is being processed. And you can see in this case, we're trying to remove items from the list as we go through them. Another common trap and pitfall with streams is to forget to put the terminal operation. So if I keep everything the way it is, and then I go ahead and run the code after commenting out the terminal operation, you will see that we get no results whatsoever. And that's a very common beginner mistake. I've actually made that mistake myself a couple times. So be careful that you always remember to terminate your streams. That's another frequently made mistake with Java streams. So this was the first example we're going to look at, and this one is just there to show that you shouldn't modify the stream source while the stream is processing.